Hey everybody, and welcome back to Ready Steady Play, where it's a chill Saturday night, and we're gonna play a Euro game about curing board game components that have become sick. It's Clinic. It's here. Here it is, over this shoulder. There we go. I figured out where the box was. So this is the deluxe reprint of Clinic. Clinic was first published in 2014, and designed by a chap whose name is on the box, Alban Viard. So designed by Alban Viard, and this is a kick-started, deluxeified reprint with art by everyone's favorite graphic board game artist Ian O'Toole and graphic designer come board game artist, and sort of deluxeified because the original looked pretty terrible. Hey, Heggers, thanks for hanging out. I don't know how long this stream will go on for. I'm hoping it won't be too long, just because I've got a rather busy weekend myself, but we'll see. The game itself is not very long, but there is quite a bit of overhead we'll have to get through, just to sort of understand what is actually going on here. So, as you can see, I've got everything set up for a solo playthrough, and I'm going to teach you guys the rules, but I'm mostly going to be explaining them as we go through the game, parsing the game, but I will explain just sort of how it's set up and the general concepts before we start. And hello also to Difter, who's here in chat, and I hope some other people will come along and join us, or else catch up later. But the point is, Clinic here it's a Euro-style game, and it's sort of action selection, it's a bit of economic management, and mostly it's tile placement. So we're building our own clinic. We're going to be building our clinic out of pieces on the board. And let me see about this camera here. Shall we have a look here? So this is the game board here, but we've got our own little player board over here. And this is sort of what we're focusing on here, is we're building our clinic here on this board. And the placement of these tiles is sort of the central puzzle of the game. Because ultimately, in order to win, we want to have the most popular hospital, and I hope in what is designed to be a very, I hope in what I hope is a satirical decision, you win the game by buying popularity with money, which you get from curing patients, and the money that you get from curing patients is, of course, charging them. And we can talk a little bit more about that later on. But the point is, we're going to have some funds, and we need to use those funds to build up our hospital so we can cure patients and make more funds. And so it's going to be managing that economy. It's going to be buying tiles to place into our hospital. Tile placement is very important to create efficiencies in order to generate more income. And after 6 rounds, we will have built a clinic, which will hopefully be helping lots of people and generating self-sufficient income, I guess. And then we will determine our popularity, which will largely be points that we bought with money during the game. And then we'll also gain some popularity in the end game as well for various little end game awards as well. I'll see if I can show you on this camera here. But, so look, and hopefully this will stay put. Yeah, so we've got, these are the end-game conditions right here. You're going to get points for having doctors and nurses, different values based on who's who. You're going to have points for the number of different buildings you've built, so I'll explain how buildings work, but there's that. You're also going to get points for the number of treatment areas you've got. These are orange buildings you can build, and you're going to lose a bunch of points if you have untreated patients, and also if you have used a lot of time. There are 2 economies in the game. Resources that you can spend. One is money, and money is used to buy buildings and hire staff for your hospital, and then you're also going to have to pay upkeep to pay them and keep them going. And the other thing is time, which is spent to actually move people around the hospital. And if you have an inefficient hospital, then they're going to spend a lot of time wandering around, not doing things that are good for you, and ultimately you'll get a bunch of negative points for that. Hey Margot, hey Eddie, thanks for joining in the chat. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. So, let me just go over here and sort something out. Just, so a little bit. Whee! There we go. So, what we've got in the game is 6 rounds in order to accomplish this, and each round is going to be made up of four phases. And the 4 phases are actions, and then movement. I mean, movement actually is part of the action phase, so really it's 3 phases. But it's all here on this this board here as well. So the board actually kind of serves as a sort of a useful aid to guiding you through the different phases of a round. So you can see here we've got this tracker for the rounds. When this gets to the 6th round, at the end of that round, the game will end, and we'll do our final scoring and see how many points we've got. In this case, we're trying to just get sort of the most points, and we're also going to have a goal that we have to achieve as well. So you can see here, this is phase 1 of a round is actions, and it's all of these areas here. And then you've got this little movement situation at the bottom here. So for actions, you'll be using all of these areas of the board. And then at the end of the action phase, there's going to be a movement phase, which apparently is part of the action phase, because phase 2 is business. And business is all automated, so you're going to make a bunch of money and you're going to have to pay a bunch of money, essentially based on what you've done in the action phase. And then finally, administration sees doctors getting tired, patients leaving, new doctors coming out for hire, and all kinds of sort of little trigger effects there as well. So we'll go through the details of that when we get to that stage. But first, we can talk a little bit about setup. But I suppose we can talk about... actually, let's talk about illnesses first, because there are 5 types of types of what they call services that you can build in your clinic. You've got psychology, cardiology, ophthalmology, orthopedics, and neurology. But in a 1-player game, we don't use these 3. So we're only going to have psychology and cardiology. And so, as a result, you can see I've only put out those service hubs over here. And this is, there are actually 3 actions in the game, and each one of these, the actions are represented by these symbols up here. And so this area is associated with the build action, this area with the hire action, and this area here with the acquire patients action, sort of open doors action, I suppose. I'm not going to overroll my nurses here. So you can see here I've just got the psychology and cardiology services out. We've also got a treatment hub, treatment rooms here, and treatment rooms are where we're actually going to be treating patients. There's an infinite number of those in the game, so I've got a whole bunch more off to the side. Then you've got supply rooms here, 4 per player. And then you've got special modules, which are unique rooms that have sort of unique benefits, and these have been randomized. In a solo game, you use 2, but in a game with more, they have different categories. And so the number of categories you lay out is based on the number of players, and you might have stacks, because each category will have its own stack. So that's how these have been set up. So in a solo game, you have 2 distinct categories, and they're in separate stacks, but 1 tile in each category. So I can only ever get 2 special modules for this. And then we've got gardens here. The gardens, an infinite number of gardens, helipads, parking lots, and entranceways here as well. There's just an infinite number of those. We've also got an infinite number of cars here in the parking lot, and you can just pour them out there. This is just a holding space for these little car tokens, which we see here. But managing the cars is, of course, going to be very important, because people need to drive to and from the hospital, because ambulances are too expensive to use in America. So we've got here as well a bunch of nurses, again, set out based on player count. So you can see the bottom row is filled up with 1 player, 2 players, 3 players, 4 players. You'll fill up the rows as you go along, and these will be all the nurses available in the game. Same with the orderlies, who are these little pink tokens down here. And I've set out 2 orderlies because I'm playing solo, but you'd have up to 8, so 2 per player. And then up here we've got doctors, who I haven't put out yet, so I'm going to put them out now. And we're only going to fill the top 2 positions here because we're playing a solo game, but again, you would put out a number of doctors based on your player count. Now I've got a doctor bag here, which I've filled with a number of doctors based on player count. Again, that comes from a chart in the rulebook there. You can see there's 4 different colors of doctors, with the white doctors, and these are escalating, and I suppose in expertise. I mean, it's kind of a peculiar sort of thematic or ludonarrative dissonance here, because The white cubes represent the least sick patients. And the patients also escalate in color. You can see my orange and red cubes are over here because I didn't need bowls for them here. But they would escalate again in sort of terms of the severity of their illness, with the red cubes having the most severe illness. However, the doctors can only treat cubes at their level. So the white doctors can only treat white cubes, yellow doctors, yellow cubes, orange doctors, orange cubes, and red. So the red doctor, despite being the most experienced doctor treating the illest patients, cannot deal with the least sick patients. Perhaps they don't think it's worth their time, who knows. The point is, they won't do it. So you have to match up doctor for doctor. So we've got a little bag here that's got some doctors in it, and we're just going to pull a few tokens to set up our starting marketplace of doctors here and see who is going to come out onto the board. So this is the $4 doctor. Oh, I dropped it. It's a white doctor. A doctor capable of curing white illnesses. And the $2 doctor is yellow. So then what you do is once you've populated the pertinent spots, you reorganize them in terms of severity. So we're going to make the yellow doctor cost more. That's what this little symbol here is indicating, that you organize the row by the qualified level of the doctor. This is the university space, by the way. And this is just indicating how the actions work. So I'll explain how the rest of this iconography functions as we play through the game together. But the other thing we have to do is put out some patients. And we're going to put one patient in the row here for mental health, for psychology. And we're going to put one patient in the row here for cardiology. And that's it. And we'll only use these two rows in this game because those are the only two conditions we have. So again, I've got a patient's bag here. This has been set up according to the rule book for solo play. So here's our first patient, yellow patient, and our second patient. It's a white patient, white cube. There we go. So that's the game all set up and ready to go. I have also hidden under my head here the this is the first player position here, and if you were playing with more players, what you would do is you would take everyone's discs, you'd shake them up in your hands, and then randomly determine a player order, starting player order there as well, which of course would be important if I had multiple players, but it's just me, so I'm just going to be there for the entire game. There is a step in the administration phase down here where the player order would change at the end of every round based on who's losing, actually. So if the player order is changed based on who's losing. If it doesn't change, then it will just shift one place for the sake of changing. But we don't have to worry about that because I'm playing on my own and it will never change. Eddie says, that's a busy looking board. Yeah, it is actually, but a lot of it is just kind of indicating the flow of things. And we can talk a bit more about the complexity of the game later on, I think. There is going to be a little discussion at the end where I can give some first impressions. This is only my second playthrough. I played through once solo. I've never played it with other people. So, you know, I didn't back the Kickstarter for this or anything like that. I just I picked this up, this box and a couple of the expansion boxes in a sale because they were being sold cheaply. I didn't realize it was so new. I thought it was old. I thought it was something I'd sort of missed out on. And I figured it probably wasn't very good because they still seem to have the Kickstarter Deluxe box in this sale. But apparently it's very contemporary. So I guess I was just kind of fortunate to find some parts of this Kickstarter pledge a shop had got and wanted to move. I guess it was. I don't know if it was the game wasn't getting a lot of attention, or maybe it's just a super niche game. That sort of meant there were elements kicking around, but we can have a little playthrough and then we can talk about the game and see what you guys think about Clinic. But we've sort of covered all of the setup to an extent. I've got a 50 point token here, which I'm only going to use if I get to 50 points, which is probably not going to happen. I also start with $15. Everyone starts with $15, which is of course more than enough money to build a hospital. And then we've got our 6 action tokens here, 2 of each type. And you'll see these match the 3 symbols up here. And I start with one white doctor, one little car for that doctor here. And I also start with a psychology. Let me zoom in on my board actually here. I also start with a cardiology service hub, not cardiology, psychology service hub, a treatment room, and a supply room. So it says there's a bunch of different randomized board configurations that you can start with, or you can actually just choose how you want these to go out. That's only recommended for experienced players. I've gone with one of the default layouts because I've only played it once. You can also flip this board over, and then there's a harder board on the other side, which it's harder because the grid, as you can see, the grid is smaller. So you've got less space to build around. But of course, we've got two areas here. This is the ground floor, this is the first floor. We can build additional floors as well, 2, 3, and I think it goes up to 4 with an expansion. I don't know if I have that. This game actually came with some expansion stuff in the box, which again I can talk about at the end a little bit. I think we're not going to play with any of it. This is just the basic game in the core set. Yeah, so I've laid these out like this, and I've got an entrance here. So this is how people are going to get into my hospital, like that. And so there's all kinds of rules about these tokens, which we will explain as we purchase them and put them into place on the board. And we will learn all about that. But the first, one of the first things we're going to do is put our doctor here on the entranceway to the hospital. So he's ready to come in, and we have to park his car somewhere. And I don't know if you guys can see it very clearly. Let me see if I can get the other camera over here. Maybe it'll make it a bit easier for you guys to see. I don't know. You can kind of see these little gray outlines here. So these are actually parking spaces where we can park our car. So they'll exist like this. And you'll notice that when a... Is this going to focus? Why do you do it to me, camera? Sorry folks, bear with me 2 seconds. My camera's being extremely uncooperative. As is my entire computer, actually. What is going on? I'm sorry, I don't know why it's being this way. There we go, that's better, isn't it? Oh, that's worse. Is that better? Anyway, it'll have to do. So, you can see that when you build a module in there, it doesn't cover up the, or it covers up half of the parking space, which means we can't use the parking spaces along where the modules are built anymore. And so we're going to have to think about that, because all of the patients and all of the staff in the hospital, they all need to park their cars at the hospital. And so we're going to need spaces for those. But you can build, when you build these full modules to expand the size of your clinic, you know, you're losing parking spaces essentially. And you'll notice there's no parking space on the first floor because, of course, there isn't. Apparently, we can't build multi-story car parks yet. That's just not a technology we have. So what we can do is build actual parking spaces, and you can see that these fit, they're smaller. And that's because you can continue to park cars around the parking space, but also you can park cars on the parking space. So this gives you extra capacity. You can also build these gardens, which likewise are smaller, because the idea is they don't stop the parking spaces from existing. So that's good, I suppose. But we'll worry about that a bit later. For now, we can pop our doctor's car down there, and he's all ready to come in. So the final thing we're going to do as part of setup here is to flip over 2 of these bonus tiles, and these are just random bonus tiles here. It's 1 per player plus 1, so in the solo game 2, and each player would pick 1 in reverse turn order as their starting tile. Starting bonus, and receive what's depicted on the bonus tiles. And of course, because I'm the only player, I will just pick 1 of the 2 that I reveal. So we've got 1 here, I have no idea what that means. And one here, which I guess lets me upgrade my starting doctor to a yellow doctor. Yep. So you can see here the doctor. Oh, you can see here this means the doctor improves. So I did actually look up in the rulebook here to see whether or not there was a tile that would allow. Sorry, not a tile. A section of the rulebook that explained what all these bonus tiles do, and I couldn't find a section of the rulebook for that. So that's not very good, because I don't know what that means. And I guess I'm going to have to look that up online. Huh. That's terrible. There's the hub in detail, all the different rooms in detail. But I can talk about this rulebook a bit later. But actually, what I'll do is I'll just summarize it. I wasn't impressed with it, honestly. But that was fine. That's fine. So I'll take this one. And that's actually worked out a little bit well for me anyway. Because we can see here that the patient who's currently in psychology is in fact yellow. So by upgrading my starting doctor to a yellow doctor, it means I can go ahead and treat that patient, which will get me more money, which is, of course, the whole point of treating sick people. If we flip over here onto the main board here, we can see that I've set up some scenes, so I don't have to keep dragging this around. But you can actually see here, sort of, that the dollar price for curing different patients. So you get $8 for curing a white patient, or a patient with a white level illness. Here it's $12 for curing a yellow patient with yellow severity illness. Orange severity is $20 and red severity is $32. But down here you've got the salary for your doctors as well, so you have to pay them more. They're more qualified. Something to consider. But once we've resolved our bonus tile, they all go away. They're done for the rest of the game. We won't have to deal with them anymore. And we're all ready to start playing the game. So, the game begins with an action phase, which is actions in turn order. But what we're going to do is all of us players here at the table, we're going to keep our little action tiles here a secret, and we're all going to simultaneously choose one action to do, and we're going to put our action tiles face down like that. And so then what we'll do is we will all reveal what action we're doing, and we'll trigger the actions left to right. So we'll start by everyone who's building, and then we'll break ties for builders in turn order. Same with hiring and taking patients. So the order in which you do these things will be very interesting and competitive, I imagine, with more people, because, you know, there's only a limited number of some of these buildings, and so you're going to have to think about whether you want to get those buildings first. There's only a limited number of doctors available each round, and nurses for the whole game. There's only one nurse available, actually. Well, one per player available each round, but of course a player could hire actually, they can only hire one nurse, so you can probably get a nurse. But there's also a limited number of orderlies as well down there. And of course, there will be... I will explain how this works in a little bit. But you want to make sure you get the patients you want as well. So there's a little bit of sort of a motivation for getting involved in all these different areas earlier rather than later. So I imagine you'll be thinking about that as you go through this process. But I have the luxury of just doing whatever I want because I'm playing on my own. Oh yeah, but there's an extra little caveat. So at the end of the solo game, we're basically going to be given a rating based on how much money we have. Not money, sorry, popularity. How much popularity we have, because that's, of course, how you win. So we've got two trackers around the outside of the board here that you can see. We've got the popularity tracker here, and this is just our score. And then we've got the time tracker, and time is this resource that's spent to move people around in the hospital. So we'll get to see how that works after the first action phase. But every time you get to 3 time points that you've logged here, you're going to get negative points at the end of the game. So there's -3, and so the further up you progress, the more negative points you'll have at the end of the game, removed from your final score, which is obviously not ideal. But in the solo game, in addition to all of this, we also have one extra criteria. So we're going to have to pick one of these 8 criteria here, and we have to essentially meet this criteria in order to gain our final score at all. So if we meet this condition, then we can check our popularity and we'll be given a rating based on how well we did. But apparently it's also not uncommon to get a negative score in this game, so I need at least 0 points to end positively. But we can pick one of these. So this first one is essentially cure all of the white severity patients in the game. So as you know, I set up this this patients bag earlier, and there won't be any more patients added to the bag over the course of the game. I think the same is for the doctors. I think these are all the available doctors and patients, but they may change color. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Just a little OBS crash there. We're back up and running again. So, yes, I was just talking about so the doctors as well. They will also change color over the course of the game based on whether or not they receive any training, or they will also get tired and actually become less skilled. It's kind of bizarre, really. They'll become more skilled by being left in the university to train for longer. They'll become more skilled if you have the lab building available in the game, which I just happen to draw. I'll show you the two special tiles I happen to draw in a minute. But that's one way to level up the doctors. So doctors will go up and down, but they'll level down at the end of every round if they treated a patient. So that's one way that can be adjusted. And any patients that are left untreated will also escalate in severity, but only if they're in the hospital, which is kind of weird. In any case, we've got our various different criteria here. So that's treat all of the white cubes in the game, make so there's none left in the bag or on any board. That'll be tricky to do. Well, actually, there's 9 white cubes, but I'm pretty sure they go back. No more white patients left in the bag or on any board. Now, wait a minute. I thought patients went back into the bag after you treated them. I'm going to have to check that out. Because that would be unachievable if they did. But I also wonder if you wouldn't run out of patients. Anyway, build 3 buildings that can treat patients. I'll explain buildings later, but I'm not going to be able to do that. I can, but because it's a solo game and I'm only using 2 different building types, it seems almost kind of like a waste of 3 buildings. I've spent no more than 12 time net. That's tough. 7 doctors still on your player board. That might be doable. Have 4 colors of doctors still on your player board. I think this is the most achievable, so I might pick this one. Like I said, I've only played this once, and it didn't go very well, so... have at least 3 colors of patients on your player board. That's extremely achievable, I think. But also, it's worth a lot of negative points. So, there's that. Build a service hub on the highest floor with which you are playing. Normally this is floor 3, but an expansion adds another floor. I think, yeah, have I got 3 floors? Yeah, I've got 3 floors in this box. I think the expansion might be... I do have some of the expansion stuff. I didn't get all of it, because I just kind of bought the random stuff that was on sale. So I think I've got, like, expansion 1 and 4. Have at least 6 patients treat at least 6 patients during round 6. They must be red, yellow, and orange. 2 of each, actually. Treat exactly this number of patients in the final round. Well, at least this number. That's hard. Have at least 4 nurses still on your player board. That could be doable. And I'll explain what nurses do later. But you know, that could be quite accomplishable. And then this one says have at least $200 and 0 popularity. So essentially, don't get a negative score, and then also have $200 left over. I don't think that's going to be possible. I don't know. I was having a hard time making money before, so we'll see. I say let's pick the nurses thing. That seems reasonable. That seems doable. I think we can. I think we can do the nurses thing. So, Margot says it's frozen on her end. Margot, is it still frozen on your end, or is it back up and running? Let me know. Right. So, I've got these two special rooms as well. We've got the invisible laboratory. This is a research lab, basically, where doctors can come and better their skills. So any doctor in this room at the end of the round will level up 2 levels. So a white one will become orange, a yellow one will become red, the rest will become red. In addition to... So you can only have 1 doctor here, that's why it says 1. And then you will also gain a victory point as well. So that's pretty good. And there's actually two point symbols for points in the game. You can see here that this one, actually, it's very hard to see, I know, because it's tiny, but there's a little lightning bolt above the 1, and that's points you score during the game. The same iconography is used for negative points. And the other iconography shows this sort of hex, this dotted line around the hexes, and that's endgame scoring, so you won't score those till the end of the game. And the other room that I sort of randomly pulled out the bag is this triage room here, which I guess the glare, I think it's the glare from the lights that are making these not look very good on this camera. But here on the triage room, if you, at the end of the movement phase, you will have your total time used reduced by 3, so that's very good as well. Right, and so I always find it a bit tricky to decide whether or not we should be worried about curing patients in the first round of this game, but maybe we should. I think seeing as how there's a yellow patient available, and we do have a yellow doctor, maybe that's something we can do. I'm glad you guys are able to access the stream again. So I'm just thinking about I'm thinking about, why is this so dark? This looks significantly darker than it is. I was wondering if I can improve this somehow. Is that a little bit brighter there? I'm having a real trouble with the lights. You can see how washed out I look here. Of course, that's ever since I moved the lights, the studio around a bit, so it's still a work in progress. But I'm trying to reduce the glare on my face while keep the board lit so you can see what's going on. It's proving a bit of a challenge. But anyway, as long as we can see. So we've got a yellow patient there, so we get $12 for curing a yellow patient, so curing this patient would probably be a good idea, a sort of a good goal at the start of the game, I think. We've got 3 actions, so clinical lighting, yeah, it's what I need those I don't know what kind of lighting they're having in surgeries, but I bet they have good lights. I need some of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my probably going to, if we're going to treat that patient, what we're going to need to do is, so well, I mean, actually, all we really need to do is get the patient and the doctor here into the treatment room. So each treatment room can hold up to 2 patients and 2 doctors. So you can see on the actual tile. You can do it. There we go. So it's there's a ×2 there, and that means that this can hold up to 2 doctors and patients, so a total of 4 things, and also any number of nurses. The nurses have all been wiped out by my green screen, but they're gathered around the outside, so that's just showing that you could have any number of them. And so in a single treatment room we can treat them, but this little symbol up here with the padlock, that means that in order for this room to operate, it needs to be adjacent to a service hub and a supply room. So on our starting board here, we have it adjacent to both of these things, but the service hub determines what kind of treatment room it is. So only patients with psychological issues or illnesses are allowed to be cured in this room here. So a good thing to start might be to build a cardiology service hub, so we can start treating the other type of patients available in the game. But it's always going to be a balance. So I think actually a great way to start this would be with a build action. And what we can do is we can build two things. When we build, there's a ×2 on here that shows we can build two things. Oh my god. Please stop this camera. Well, in any case, that's showing this symbol here, ×2. And so there is actually a way here to build three things, because whenever you build a treatment room, this symbol here actually means you can also build a supply room with it. So you could build a treatment room, a supply room, and something else, or you could build two other things. And actually, I think a great thing to start with is, in this case, another entrance, and what I'd like to do is pop that down here. So you can only put entrances on the ground floor, obviously, and apparently anywhere but in the northern area of the hospital due to planning restrictions that you didn't notice when you bought the land for your clinic. So can't build up here, but you can build on any of the other three edges and adjacent to any tile. And this means that patients can now go directly into the treatment room, which is good. It also gives us more points for moving things around in not in the movement phase, sorry, in the acquiring patients phase. So that's a useful thing to do. And then the other thing I think I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to buy the triage room right away as well, because time is a big problem, and I feel like just having time off right away is good. I mean, so what I can do is I can put it anywhere here, and if I put it over here, I've now started a new building. So you see we've got the ground floor here. If I make it adjacent to an existing building, I'm extending that building. And if I make it separate, I'm starting a new building. However, I can never combine two buildings. So once I've made a separate building, it's now separate and distinct. So this building could only extend across here and down here, so none of those other spaces would be able to be filled. This building could go up there, but then this building could only be 2 tiles along. So the other thing I can do, though, is build up. So I can build onto the next floor. So tiles are considered adjacent if they are orthogonally next to each other on the same level, or directly above each other. So if I put this up here, it's adjacent to this one. It's adjacent to this one only. It's above that one. So the question is, what do I want to put this above? And I don't know. Possibly yes, I think I want to build it above the supply room. So now my hospital is a funny L shape. It's got a big double stack at the back of the hospital. But there we go. So that's up there now. And of course I have to pay, and I have to pay a certain amount based on the floor I'm building on. So supply rooms are free, and everything else costs $2 each. So I'm going to pay $2 for that, and I'm going to pay $2 for that, so I'm going to take this, and I'm going to get some change. There we go. Our savings, we're eating into our savings. And that's action number 1. So we flip that over to show that we're done our action. And once everyone's completed their actions in the manner I described earlier, then what we're going to do is we're going to head over here. We're going to move along this little token here to show that we're moving from the first action round to the second action round. But we're going via this cube here, which means that more patients show up. So as we move into the action number 2, we're going to go back into the bag here, patient's bag, and we're going to put one more patient in each row active in the game. So this first patient's going to be going into mental health area. So we've got a low-level severity patient in there, and quite a high severity patient there in cardiology. Possibly they're suffering a heart attack or something like that. Probably should get to them quite quickly. Probably won't. So then we're gonna do our next action. I think I'd like to do a. So I'm only gonna do one action to acquire patience, and that's probably going to be my last action this round. Of course, all of this would be very secretive in a multiplayer game, but in solo mode, I'm just kind of planning out my things here. But I think what I probably want to do is a hiring. Now, our objective here is to have 4 nurses, so I probably want to get a nurse. And orderlies are very, very good as well, so I probably want to get an orderly and a nurse. I don't really need another doctor. I mean, I could get another doctor, I suppose. I can't get an orderly and a nurse. Let me explain. Whoa! So if we come over here, when we hire, we can hire 1 doctor. That's why there's a 1 here. And 1 either nurse or orderly. Okay, so I think I'm going to be a bit risky and actually not get the nurse right now. It just means that I'm going to have to be careful about it later because obviously I need to get 4 nurses before the end of the game. It is possible for me to get 2 nurses in a single round because... No, it's not. It's not possible because there's only 1 nurse available per round. If you check out the numbers up here, the columns correspond to each round. So in round 1, these are the number of nurses available based on player count. In round 2, it's here, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So I actually need to make sure that in 4 rounds of the game, I buy at least 1 nurse. So maybe we'll skip it in the first round because I don't think she's going to be particularly, or he, or they, I don't think they will be particularly useful. But we'll just have to make sure we do it next time. So I'm going to get a doctor. So that's going to cost me $2 because it came from the $2 space. And I'm going to get an orderly for $1 as well. And I'll explain what these do in a minute. But of course they both come with cars. So we're going to have to find parking for those cars as well. So I'm going to pay $3 for that. There we go. And the doctor's going to go and stand over there. So he's close to the treatment room. The orderly will also go and stand there, ready to come in. And these 2 cars, I guess we're just going to put them out here and here for now. We're going to have to figure out some parking or something at some point to deal with those. So, that's hiring resolved. And we're going to move along our action cube to the next level, so we have to get 2 more patients out of the bag. And we're going to go mental health first, psychology, here we go, white patient, and then cardiology. Oh, am I going to need some skilled cardiologists? Yeah, orange. Yeah, we probably need some of those. Okay, cool. So, now it is our 3rd and final action, and we're going to get some patients into our hospital because we need someone to treat so we can make some money. That is the American way. So we're going to flip that over, and when we flip this over to take in patients, what we need to do is calculate our Q points. These are a number of points we can spend in order to acquire patients. And the Q points you gain is somewhere handily... There was a little diagram somewhere. It's down here. So the Q points are displayed here on your player board, and it's this top row here, right under the take in patients action. So it's equal to 1 plus the number of helipads and entranceways you have. So earlier when I was talking about this, I mentioned that having another entranceway would be useful for 2 reasons. And the first is that people can go straight into the treatment room, and the second is it gives me another Q point. So now I have 3 Q points. The Q points can be used to do one of 2 things. You can either take a patient from the red position here on the side of the patient board, and you can put it into one of the waiting rooms here on this board. However, it obviously has to match. So if we're taking them from cardiology, they go here into the cardiology waiting room. And if we take them from here, they'll come over here to the psychology waiting room. So what you can also do is you can spend 1 Q point to swap the position of 2 patients. So we can swap them around like that. Or we can swap them around like that. So you can swap into the row above you or below you. In this case, there's not really any rows below because we're only using 2 of the rows. But the thing is, you can do something clever here as well, because if you wanted, say, 2 white patients, what you could do is you could swap if you wanted 2 white psychology patients in need of psychological help, you could swap these 2 around, and then you could take that one, and immediately when you take it, these 2 will drop down, and then you can take another one. So you can use your 3 points there to still acquire the 2 patients that you need in the right colors. I've, of course, planned to have 1 yellow patient here, and so that's 1 Q point to take the yellow patient, and another Q point to take this white patient, because these will immediately drop down. So then I can grab this one as well, and that one will drop down in there. I have a 3rd Q point, but I don't know if I'm going to spend it, because actually, do you know what I'll do actually is I'll spend my 3rd Q point to swap these around, and I'll explain that why a bit later, but I think that could be useful to me a bit later on. And so I'll take these 2 patients that I've just acquired in white and yellow, and I'll put them both here into the psychology waiting room. And now we're going to head back over here, and of course we trigger 1 final patient queuing. So we are going to have to build, I think, a cardiology room, or else we're just not going to be able to treat any of these poor patients who are suffering issues to that regard. So now we're actually done with actions, and we're going to move down here into the movements position. This little disc here doesn't have anything to do with this guy. He's done. So this is just telling us how much time it costs to do different things in the hospital. So as we move around the hospital, we have to spend time, and the more time we spend, the more negative points we're going to accrue at endgame. So we want to try to be as efficient as possible, and this is part of the motivation for the way we lay out the tokens and things in the hospital. But this is telling you that it costs 1 time to move from an entrance into the hospital, to move up and down between levels of the hospital, back and forth between rooms of the hospital, and the same with the helipad. The helipad you can go up and down or adjacent to. You may, for free, move from the waiting room or a service room to outpatients. Outpatients is a special building which we don't have present in this game. You can also move for free from service hub or waiting room to an entranceway or helipad. And you can also move between conveyors for free. I haven't talked about conveyors. We're going to get to that. We can build conveyors in the hospital, though, and they're just going to shoot patients and the doctors around some kind of underground conveyor system, which is, of course, how real hospitals work. And then if you have a triage at the end, you will lose 3 of the time that you would otherwise gain. You don't get to go negative. This is just off this total amount. So if you haven't used 3, you can't get a negative value here and decrease what you've already acquired. So, with that in mind, let's head over to my player board and have a look at the movement we're going to be doing. But what I've got here is I've got this yellow doctor, and I want to move him over here into the treatment room. So that's going to be 1, 2 time. I've got this orderly. I want to move my orderly into the supply room, so that's going to be 1, 2 as well. So now I'm on 4. And then I've got the white doctor who's going to move in there. So that's 5. And then I've got the 2 patients who are going to move from here to the entrance. That's free. And then they're both going to move into the treatment room as well. So that's 7 in total. And then we're going to take 3 off for the triage room. So 4 total time gained. So already we've accrued 1 negative point at the end of the game. Great stuff. Good, 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 good. Margo, nope, doctors need to match. And in fact, doctors can't treat backwards as well. So even though the yellow doctor is more highly trained than the white doctor, the yellow doctor can't treat white cubes. And that's where nurses come in. So this is a good opportunity to explain nurses, I suppose. If we wound up with a situation like this, where we've got a doctor and a patient in a treatment room, and they're not matching, for each nurse present, you can adjust the color of the doctor 1 up or 1 down. So we could use this nurse to make this a white doctor and treat that cube. And you can do it multiple steps for each nurse that you have, but each nurse can only help one doctor. So we will build an army of nurses, but as you can see here, I've arranged it so that I've got one doctor for each patient that I'm going to cure here. And that is the end of our movement step, so we've completed that. So now I guess what we're going to do is we're going to go to the business phase 2 of the round. So that's phase 1 of the whole round over. Now we're going to go to phase 2 of the round, which is business. Business. Let's see if we can focus on business. What do you think, Cameron? You going to help me out, buddy? There we go. So the first thing that we're going to do is treat patients, and we're going to get some money for each patient that we treat. So we're going to treat a yellow cube and a white cube, which is going to give us $20. Hooray! So it's very important that you take these patients, and I need to find out what happens to these, because I thought they went back in the bag, but then there was that solo objective that made me think otherwise. So, yes, let me look that up in the rulebook in just a moment, but before I do, we're going to get $20, and what we have to do is put this is called our income. We have to put this in a special little pool, which we're going to put down here, which is just notably distinct from our savings over here. There's also 3 little spots here, actually, numbered 1, 2, and 3, where you can put your actions as you do them over the course of the round as well, to keep track of those. But here in this solo mode, I don't really need to do that. So there we go. Now we've got our $20, but unfortunately we have to pay our overheads. Womp, 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 womp. So first off, and there's more money available for doing some other things here as well. This is to do with the outpatients, which we don't have, so we're not going to worry about it. But you can, in summary, outpatients, you can treat any cube there with any doctor, and it doesn't matter what color any of it is, and you get $6 no matter what. But we're not going to be able to do that. And then this here means that any treatment room where you treated any patient who was treated in a treatment room which is adjacent to a garden is worth $2 more. So you essentially increase this value up here by $2 if the patient was in a treatment room next to a garden. We don't have any gardens, so we're not going to worry about that now. So now we're going to have to pay our doctor's salaries. So that's going to be $3 because we've got 1 yellow and 1 white, so $3 there. We have to pay our nurses $1. We don't have any. We're going to pay our orderly $1. We're also going to have to pay $1 for each room and garden, and then we would pay more for surgeries if we had surgeries, but there aren't any in this game because that's another special room that we're not using. So what we're going to do is we're going to pay, let's have a quick look at our player board. So we've got our 2 doctors for 3, we've got our orderly is 4, and then we've got our 3 rooms, which is another 3. Oh no, 4 rooms actually. So, oh, do you know what I didn't do? This is naughty, actually. And it's not going to matter, but when I took those 2 patients during the higher patients step, I should have taken 2 cars for them and put those out on my board here. And then, of course, when the patients were cured just now and left, I could remove those cars. But I can remove any cars. So the patients can arrive in their cars and leave with the doctor's fancy, expensive cars if they want. So that's something to think about, but I'll just remove these 2 cars that I've just put out. So, in any case, we know that my total overhead here is going to be 7. But because I have an orderly who's sorting out all of my supply rooms and my equipment and making sure everything's in order, I actually knock $3 off the total cost here. So instead of 7, I'm going to pay 4. And that 4 has to be paid by the money I've just made. So I have to cover all of my costs. Now, as you can see, I've got 20, so I'm going to be able to do that. But if I didn't, then any additional dollars would have to be paid in popularity, 1 for 1. So I would be losing points directly, which would be bad. So I'm going to go ahead and pay those 4 now. So I'll take this 5, turn it into a 1. And that's why we have to keep our income separate, because you can't pay for this stuff out of your savings. That's distinct. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to check this out. So the final step here of business is we can spend $3 for 1 point. And we can only do this using our income right now. So this is the only way to buy the popularity, actually, and that's kind of a problem too, because I want to use this money to build my hospital up, but I need to also buy points because I can't go into my savings. So at the end of the game, if I've got savings that I haven't spent on points, then they're kind of useless. There's no like end game scoring for money. So I guess I'll spend 6 and buy 2 points. That seems reasonable and conservative. So there we go, 2 popularity. I've done an advertising campaign or some such. And I've generated interest in my hospital. And so then we're going to move on to the final phase of the round, admin. And the first thing that happens is this thing here, which is the round moves on. So we're going to move down to round 2. Then the next thing that happens is over here, this action token here resets to the first position. And then the patients who are in the red column here are removed from the board. And I also am going to have to look up what happens to these. I think they go back in the bag, but then these ones drop down. So we don't lose any points for that. That's just, they presumably went out of state for treatment or to the black market. And then any doctors left in the hospital will level up to the next level. So we do have one yellow doctor here. So this yellow doctor will become an orange doctor. Because he's been studying more. And then we've got a new doctor comes out of the bag as well to replace any empty positions. And of course we've got one empty position here. So we're going to go into the bag of doctors and draw one doctor. And it's a yellow doctor. So that doctor's going to live there now. But here's the other thing. If it had been a red doctor, I would then reorganize them by the color. So the doctor who's treating the most severe illnesses is in the most expensive position, just like we did during setup. But they've just come out naturally in the correct positions here, so that's fine. So after we've replenished the doctors, we're going to remove any nurses from the columns. And this is where I was getting a little nervous, because I'm going to have to remove this nurse here, which means there's now one nurse that I'm not going to be able to buy this game. And there's only 5 remaining, and I need to acquire 4 of them. So there's that. Then any doctors who are in the lab will skill up and also gain a popularity point, but I don't have any in the lab. And any doctors who aren't in the lab are going to skill down, because if they treated a patient, I think. This might be all doctors. I should check that. But I think it's if they treated a patient. In any case, this yellow doctor is going to become a white doctor, because that was exhausting and he's tired now. The lab might also not be in the game, so I guess it's possible that you could just wind up with a ton of white doctors running around. So I guess nurses are really important for handling that. Then this means that any cubes that are going to get worse. So any cubes left over on the edge of your player board here, or somewhere in your hospital where they haven't been treated, so maybe you'd moved one into here and then it just kind of hung out there because there wasn't enough space or something. They're going to get worse. So this is going to become an orange cube if it was left over there. But any red cubes are going to expire. They're going to die, essentially. They've been left too long. And that's minus 5 points right away. You can't go below 0, though. So if you do get to 0, then so what? This means flip over any tiles in the special stack or the service hub stack. So that's these 2 stacks here. These ones are all face up, because you can get any number of players can get any number of supply rooms whenever. But over here, you can see the ones underneath are actually face down. So you can only buy 1 service hub per round. So that's the thing. It would also be the case with the special modules. If, for example, we had multiple lab tiles, the labs underneath this one would be face down, so that you could only buy, amongst all players, they could only buy 1 lab per round, and then you'd have to wait till the tile was flipped face up at the end of the round in order to acquire it. But because this is a solo game, and this is unlikely to have a huge impact on me. But that's what this is reminding you to do. And then the final step here is just to adjust the player order. And so, again, you'll adjust this based on players' popularity, so by whether or not they're winning. And of course, if due to the popularity, the current order wouldn't change, you shift it 1. So the player in first would go to 4th and everyone else would move up. But we don't need to worry about that, because it's a solo game. And so we're back to the top of the round. Difter, helping me out in chat here, He says, treated patients go home, leave the game. They do not go back into the bag. Well, what about patients that scheduled a different appointment? So that's good. These ones go home. So they've been treated. Hooray. I quite like the idea of treating all the patients. That makes me feel good. You know, I'm a big fan of the NHS here in Britain, so you know, I'm all about making people healthier and not bankrupting them. But in this game, of course, I do need that money. There's no mechanism in the game for public funding that I'm aware of. So what I need here is... And Difter, did you just download the rulebook, or do you have a copy of the game? So I'm just looking at admin here for this appointment step. Return the patient in the rightmost space of each service to the patient pool. Okay, so I think these ones are going to go back in the bag, the ones that I pulled off of the board there, and the ones I treated are going to go home. That sounds correct. There's so much glare on this book. That's outrageous. Business. Going home. Each successfully treated goes home. The patient leaves the game to the supply, not the bag. Oh, that is a cardinal sin game rulebook. You've referred here to the supply and the bag, and then at the end to the pool. Well, is the pool the same as the supply or the bag? You gotta keep your terminology consistent. Come on. I'm going to just check the rules at the front here to see if it refers to the bag as the pool anywhere. Patient and doctor pools. Yeah, the patient pool is in the bag. So, these two are going to go back into the bag because they weren't treated. One more. They're waiting for another appointment. Hopefully their illnesses were not too severe. And that's it. Then we're on to round 2. So, we've moved that along and we're ready to go. So, I think... my objective this round is to possibly come... I've got 2 doctors here who are kind of useless. No, they're not. There's a lot of white patients out. But I think, Difter says, bad wording feels to be a theme for this game. Maybe. The rulebook was not very good. But, once you've... I mean, the iconography is pretty good. I mean, you would expect... I mean... the game needed Ian O'Toole to do this, because if he hadn't, it would have been an absolute disaster. So I think we're just going to... I'm going to have to take 2 build actions, though. If I take 2 build actions, I won't be able to hire, and I'm going to miss out on another nurse. But I think it's probably worth it. So this is my plan for this round. We'll see if it changes significantly. But I'm going to start by building a... I mean, what's amazing as well, and that makes absolutely 0 sense, is that you can use Q points to basically move patients from... that's not what I wanted. I wanted this. To move patients from here, so it's like, oh, you're not having a heart issue anymore. Now you're having mental issues. I guess because you've been told that... you're being gaslit by the medical services. You know, so you can just use Q points to move patients into other queues, which is bananas. So actually, what we could do is I don't know why, my face should be over here, really. What we could do, actually, is we could just get 2 white patients in... So maybe we don't want to build? Maybe we want to build a lab so we can start leveling up our doctors. Build a parking lot would be good, but not necessary at this stage. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities here. I find it a little tricky to tell... Oh yeah, this money goes over here into our savings. It's no longer income. It's a little tricky to tell what's necessarily good to do, although I don't mind that in games. I don't mind it when the game is like sort of missing these sort of... mid-game, low-level heuristics, and I have to sort of figure it out just by playing it. Fortunately, the solo version of this game is relatively short, I think. So, with that in mind, I think we should do a build action to start. And I think we should build a lab so we can level up some of our doctors. And I'm going to put it on the end of my hospital right there, so that I can, I don't know, build something above it or something like that. Then I think the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build a garden. And I'm going to build a garden in here so I can get some extra money for that. The more patients I treat adjacent to the garden, the more money it brings in, which is great because it costs money to upkeep just like everything else. So the 2 tiles cost a total of 4, so buy money. Okay, and that's the build action. So we're going to move up here and get some more patients. Well, oh no, that patient has messed up my steez, my plan. I don't have a yellow doctor. Well, actually, this isn't too bad, because what I can do, actually, is instead of doing my build action that I was planning here, I'll just do a hiring action, and we'll hire a doctor, and we can get a nurse at the same time, because we need to get on with those nurses anyway. So we'll hire, I think... let's hire the orange doctor, and I'll tell you why. Because we can make him a red doctor later, and then we'll have a red doctor in case we need one. Because he's going to level down for working, and then we can level him back up 2 spaces in the laboratory we just built. So I'm going to take this doctor from here, and I'm going to take this nurse from here. Total cost 6. So buy money, and of course I'm going to get 2 more cars for that as well. I'm not too worried about the parking at the moment, but it's going to become enormously problematic before too long. So they're going to go and stand somewhere. I'm going to stand them here, the entrance to the treatment room. And that's our hiring action. So we're going to go and move our action cube along and get... So we don't draw a patient for cardiology because cardiology is full. But we're going to get another patient for mental health. Up here, it's another white patient. So that would enable me to treat the 2 white patients if that's what I wanted, but not anymore now that I've changed my plan a little bit. So, of course, the final action that we're going to do is acquiring patients. I've got one out already, because without any patients to treat, we can't make any money. Oh, this is interesting. I could actually get an orange cube and treat an orange patient. That would be better. So what we'll do is we'll take this white cube here. Well, actually, before we take the white cube, and this is important, is we'll swap these 2 cubes around. Because that's one of our 3 cube points. And then we're going to take this patient here, that's 2 of our points. These will drop down, and then we can take this one here as well. So that's 3 of our points spent. We'll take these 2 patients here. We got them both out of the top line, so we can put them down here in our neurology, that's neurology. Psychology track here. So then we're done our final hire patients action. We do of course need to bring in 2 more cars. This is getting really out of hand. I'm gonna have to deal with these cars. I'm gonna need a parking lot next round for sure. So we're gonna move that onto the final position, which just means 2 more patients. Well, in this case just 1 because cardiology is full. So we've got 1 more patient here, another orange cube there in psychology, and of course we are on to the movement step here as well. So let's go ahead and see what kind of movement we need to do. I haven't built a very efficient hospital, but I think it's okay actually, because this guy is going to go, and this is where I could use my conveyor system. I should get some conveyors involved, but this guy's going to go 1, 2 down to there. So that's good. Incidentally, you may have noticed I got a discount for having my orderly in the last business phase. The orderly has to be in the supply room to trigger that discount. If the orderly's anywhere else, you don't get the discount and it's wasted. So that's something to think about. So we've done 2 points of movement so far, and then we're going to go 3 and 4. The nurse is going to go in there and join them. So there's 4. These 2 come over here for 3. 5, 6, they come in here like that. And then we're going to use our triage room to reduce it by 3. So that's 3 more points of time, unfortunately, there. So we're going to go from 4 up to 7. That's negative 2 points we're looking at in the end game now. And that's all done. So we are now over to business. See how fast this plays in solo mode? So in business here, we can see that we've got 1 orange and 1 white cube that we can treat. So that's a grand total of $28. And these treated cubes go back to their things. Oh, that's not right. And also, they take their cars with them. Good. Get out of here, these cars. I've still got 5 cars. 5 cars, which makes sense because I have 5 members of staff. Oh God. Okay. So where's my $28 here in my income? There's 15, 20, 25, 26. And 28. Oh, so much money. Now I'm going to have to spend it all. So, on overhead costs, which are, of course, oh, the garden as well. So I treated 2 patients adjacent to the garden, so I get another $4 for that. Brilliant, because they were both treated in this treatment room next to the garden. So, take this 5, drop off a 1. Nice, I'm in the money. I could grab one of the green 25s, but I'm going to have to get rid of those in a minute, I think. So, now we're paying our overheads. So we've got 3, 4, 5 members of staff, and 1 is a yellow doctor. So that's $4 plus $3 is $7. And then we've also got 6 tiles, which is another $6. So for a total of $13. What the hell? But minus 3 because our orderly is in the supply room, keeping things efficient. So we're going to spend $10 back on overheads. Okay. And now we can spend some points on popularity if we want. I think it's probably a good idea. So I've made a profit of 22 this today. I'm quite tempted to spend 12 actually and get 4 points. I think that seems reasonable. I think $18 in savings is actually fine. So let's put this 10 over here, and go ahead and advance 4 points up the track. So we're on 2. We're going up to 6, and now we're into the final stage of the round, which is admin. So we can do the first thing, which is move on to round 3. This guy resets to 1. And we're going to lose these 2 patients back to the pool. So these ones will all move down here. This doctor here is going to become an orange doctor. Whee! And we shall draw an additional doctor for the university from the bag. It's another orange doctor, so the order of these 2 won't change. This nurse is going to leave, but we bought her, or him, or them, so they won't leave. Then we're going to go and check our laboratory where we do have a doctor. This doctor trains to become an orange doctor. And they also gain us 1 more popularity because people heard we train doctors at our teaching hospital and they're pleased with us. Then anyone who treated a patient levels down, so our orange doctor is going to become a yellow doctor. And then patients here, untreated patients in your hospital. Fortunately, I don't have any. And I think that this is probably for the multiplayer game more than anything. I feel like this would be extremely hard to be penalized for in the solo game, unless you really messed up. We can flip some stuff face up, but there's nothing to flip, and we can change the player order, but it's irrelevant. So we're back to the top of the round. So here we go into round 3. And I think it's time to possibly build another building in our hospital. That's exciting. So I'm thinking, I think we need a car park and a conveyor system. I think we're going to do, if we do 2 builds, is that going to be problematic? Yes, because we don't have enough patience. Oh, this is the hardest part. I really need more building stuff. I feel like there's probably some rounds where it's sort of expected that you won't treat patients and just kind of, or maybe even in the early game before you hire a bunch of people, you might maybe just expect it to sort of like, because I feel like without more Q points, I can't get enough patients. Oh, this is Euro games, isn't it? I need more patients to treat so I can make more money. But maybe just one build action then, because I need to use the higher actions to get another nurse in. I'd also like another orderly. I'd like a conveyor system so I'm using less time. Oh my god! But really what I need is a conveyor system between the treatment room that I haven't even built yet. So we're going to start with a build action anyway, and we're going to build a cardiology service hub so we can start doing that. And we're also going to build a treatment room, and by when we build the treatment room, we get the bonus action of the supply room, which we'll have to build as well, because all of these things need to be adjacent to the treatment room for the treatment room to function. If you remember the padlock system, it needs to be next to one of these and one of these. And any additional treatment rooms we build in this building here now are all going to be classified as cardiology. They also need to be adjacent to cardiology, or once again they won't function, you know? Actually, there's a thought. If we put the treatment room here and cardiology here, and then we put the service room here, then we can put another treatment room here, which is adjacent to, so that's more efficient. So let's do that. We don't have this one yet. That was just for example. So we've gone ahead and built three more rooms. That costs $6. So there goes a chunk of our savings. And our entire build action is done. So we can move on the action space here, and we'll get some more patients for our hospital, patients to treat. Oof. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking now. I'm thinking I probably do want another build action, because although I might not hire a nurse, that means I'll need to spend at least one action doing hiring for the rest of the game rounds, which is a bummer, but now that I have that, maybe I do want to do hire. I'll tell you why, because I can get... No, I'll tell you why this is problematic. I want to do hiring so I can get another orderly, but so I can put him here in the supply room, except that I can't because this supply room is totally inaccessible because there's no entrance to this building. I haven't built any entrances, so you can't actually get in there at the moment. So, oh no, do you know why I wanted this here actually? Because it's adjacent to the garden. Dang it. So maybe... Oh, dang it! See, and now I need this to be here, and I can't put it there because the f***ing car. So yeah, well, this is actually achieving the same thing anyway. Yes, because then we can build the treatment room up here and it's fine. Okay. Fine. Fine. It's fine. It's all fine. I'm going to hire 2 more people and have no place for them to park. I need also a parking lot. Okay. So our next action we're going to be hiring. We're going to hire an orderly and a nurse, I think, is our best bet. Oh, we can't. We can't hire an orderly and a nurse at the same time. I'm almost never going to get that orderly, probably. Dang it. The savings on the orderlies are so good. I don't even want a doctor, though. Okay, I think we do another build action. I think we do another build action here, so rather than hiring. This challenge of getting 4 nurses is way harder than I thought it would be. So let's do another build action. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy... I think I'm going to buy a parking lot and a conveyor. So a conveyor is essentially this underground system that shoots people around your hospital without using up any time. And essentially what I'm going to do, you get, normally it costs you $2 and you buy 1 conveyor, and that's it. But the very first time you buy a conveyor, it's buy one, get one free, so you get 2. And that's just one exception. Just the very first time you get 2 for $2. And I'm going to put them in here and here. So what I can essentially do is transport patients and doctors from here to here immediately and quickly. I think that's a very good idea. And then the other thing I think I'll build is frickin' parking lot, which I'll build here. And I can immediately put 2 cars into this parking lot. So let's get rid of these 2 and shift them over here. Alright, cool. And that costs a total of $4. Done! That's action number 2. So, we've got more patients coming out. Well, actually just one more patient in the psychology here. It's like in need of psychological treatment there. So action number 3 is going to have to be acquire patients because I need to make some money. So flip that over. Get 3. Once again, we've got 3 Q points. I also need to improve my Q points. Alright, what have we got here? So we've got 3 doctors now, and we can actually treat from all of the rows. So I think it's a shame, actually, because if we had one more Q point, we could treat some more ill patients. Oh, the orange one's in the wrong row. No, it's not. It's actually fine. Okay, so I'll take these 2 here from cardiology. So that's going to be 2 Q points, and these will drop down. And I'll take this one here from psychology as well, and those will drop down. So you can see they're now over here in the appropriate waiting rooms. Of course, there is 4 spaces here, which is your maximum, so you can't have more than that. And then we've got one final round of patients showing up. So we'll go over here, and we'll get 2 more patients. Still no reds, huh? Alright, and now we're into movement. So let's go over here and check the movement. Alright, so these 2 doctors are going to go whoop, over here, and it costs nothing because of the conveyor system. So that's good. This doctor's going to go 1, 2 over to here, and that costs 2. Damn it. These 2 patients will arrive here. They'll move 1, 2, and then they'll whoop over here, which costs nothing. Thanks, conveyor system. And then this patient will go 1 into there as well. So that's another 3, right? So there's 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's it, yeah. And 3. So total of 5 minus 3. So that's 2 time points. So we go from 7 up to 9. We're now -3 victory points for that. But the good news is that we're going to treat some people. So it's time for business step. Business step. Who are we treating today? Okay, so we've got 3 patients all being treated. 1 orange patient, 1 white patient, 1 yellow patient, which is a grand total of $40. Yay! $40. Except now we have to cover our overheads. Womp womp business. So, we've got 3 doctors now. Total of $6 for the doctors, 1 for the nurse and 1 for the orderly. That's $8. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tiles. So that puts us up to 17. No, yes, we don't have to pay for parking lots. 9 tiles. $17 overhead now. Minus 3 for the orderlies, $14. I almost feel like I didn't even make any money. So $14. Give this up. We get 11 back. Okie dokie. And now we have to decide whether we want to buy popularity. And I think the answer is yes. I've actually not gone below $8 over here in my savings so far for quite a while. So I think I'm thinking of spending 15 actually. Which would get me a nice 5 points. So let's do that. We're on 7. That'll take us up to 12. popularity. We're getting there. Alright. And then that's it for business. Time for admin. Oh, don't be in this camera while I move it. That would be dreadful. Okay. So, yep, we start by moving this down to round 4. This guy resets back here. And these two return to the patient's pool. So I move these ones on. I didn't get a doctor in the lab, which is kind of a bummer. If I'd done a hire, I could have done that. Oh, do you know what I didn't do as well? Was parking. I forgot to do parking for the patients again. But it's kind of fine because I'm not... Because they come in and go out. Because I'm treating all of the patients I'm taking, it's kind of fine. If I wasn't, of course, that would be a whole other consideration. But, as it stands, it's okay. So, then we're going to level up the doctors. So now we've actually got 2 red doctors at the university. So that's going to be interesting, I guess. I haven't needed any red doctors yet. So that's interesting. And then we don't need to put out anymore because I didn't actually hire any. This nurse is going to leave, which is beginning to worry me. No one's in the lab, so this doesn't trigger, but we did get all of the doctors worked, unfortunately. So that means that this yellow doctor will become a white doctor, and this orange one will become a yellow doctor. So someone needs to go to the lab and do some research, I think. And that's it. The rest is not pertinent. So we're back to the top of round 4. Oh my god, here we go. Alright, let's have a think here. What are we going to do with our lives this turn? I'm thinking using my brain, and it's hard. I definitely need to do a hire, because if I don't hire, I'm not going to have... But let's do the hire last, I think. Because then at least we can work out whether or not we want to hire a doctor. I think we should build a conveyor to the lab, so we can shoot doctors into the lab. You can only have 1 doctor in the lab per round, but I think that would be good. And I think we could also build a... we could upgrade our car park or build another car park, which would be good. So, I feel like I'm doing the same actions over and over again. It would normally be a little bit more flexible than this, but part of the reason it's inflexible is because I need to get all those nurses. So I have to keep doing hiring actions I don't actually want to do. So we'll do a build action here. And we're going to buy 1 more conveyor for $2. And we're also going to buy another parking lot, I think. I was going to upgrade that parking lot. But now I think I want to just build a new parking lot over here. Especially if I'm going to hire another nurse. And we'll put... So, conveyors have to be orthogonally adjacent. So you'll notice that the 2 I already placed are in a straight line along here. So that you can do that. This one's going in here, which means it's now in a straight line along here. With this one, so that's fine. Like, I couldn't put it here because essentially it just doesn't go anywhere. I mean, obviously there's no room there, so that's also silly. But you've got to imagine an underground network of conveyor belts that shoot people along underground, just like in real hospitals. But obviously we haven't got the underground view here, so we don't know where the conveyors are, or rather we can't see them. They're not depicted. So anyway, there we go. But I want to be able to get doctors in there because it's points and also it levels them up. And if they're getting tired, that's a problem. And I'd rather... I say it's not a problem if they're getting tired. It's a problem only if I need them to be a better color. And I really wish I could buy another entranceway or something because I would like more Q points. But I don't think that's on the cards for me this round. Anyway, that's that. So we're going to move this on. We're going to get 2 more patients. I'd like to see a red cube here if I can. So first up, here we go. Nope. And also over here we go. Nope. I mean, if a red cube shows up at this point, it's not going to matter because I'm not going to be able to get that one anyway. I guess let's bring in patience next. Because I would still like to put off hiring because I don't think I'm going to hire a red doctor. If a red cube comes out, I might. I won't be able to get the red cube till next round. I have to do a higher action next round anyway. Yeah, so I'm not hiring a doctor this round. It doesn't matter. So we'll grab patience. And we've got 2 yet white doctors and a yellow doctor. I'd quite like to... I can't do 3 this round, I don't think. I think one of my doctors is going to have to go to the lab. So I think... I am going to get another nurse this round, actually. So I think I can take one of each. So we'll take one from here, the orange one, and one from here, the yellow one. And then I'm going to swap these 2 around, because I'd like to keep the yellow patient around, because ultimately it's more valuable to me to treat that patient eventually. Okay, and then this is going to move along, and we're going to get some more patients coming out. So, red patient? Oh, there it is, the red cube. And white patient. All of the minor cardiovascular issues only in this scenario, apparently. So, for my 3rd action, I will hire, because I have to, unfortunately. And I'm just going to take this nurse for $3, and that's it. Oh, that's money's over there now. I need... Oh, I should have 3 cars to put out now. 2 for the patients I just got, and 1 for the nurse I just hired. So let's put 1 car in here, and we can put a car here, and I guess here. Well, it's still tight. I need to upgrade these parking lots. And then we're over to one last final replenishment of patience. So, some serious... oh, that's not too bad, actually. There we go. Alright. And now it's movement. So, what I've got to do... I haven't got a whole lot of movement to do. I just need to make sure that I have the right people in the right spot. So one of these white doctors is going to go foomp, foomp along the underground conveyor belts over to there, which is fine. And then we've got... we're going to need a nurse in both areas. So this nurse is going to go 1 and then foomp to here. And are the doctors in the right places? The answer is no. This doctor can foomp up here though, and this one can foomp down there. Again, it doesn't cost any movement. So I've only spent 1 movement so far thanks to my ingenious conveyor belt. This patient will then arrive. It needs to go to cardio, so that's 1, and then foomp up to here. This one can arrive here, and then just walk in there. That's 1 as well. So it's only spent a total of 3 time, which is actually reduced by 3 by triage. So I actually don't adjust my time this round, which is great. Although I'm not doing all that much patient curing. At least we've got someone in the lab leveling up as well. And then we're back over to business round. Am I doing well? I don't know. It's hard to say because I haven't really... I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell whether this is going well, I gotta say. But yeah, so we'll start by treating some people. And we're going to treat this person. So the nurse allows the yellow doctor to act like an orange doctor. Oh, do you know what I forgot? Did I forget? Yeah, I only took $40 last time, and I should have had an additional $6 because I forgot the garden. I keep forgetting the garden. So what I'll do, actually, I think is just convert that into points, because that's what I would have done anyway. I'm just going to take 2 more points for that. I'm being kind to myself instead of super harsh. So now, again, I'm going to remember to do the gardens this time. So we're going to treat this orange patient. That's $22 because of the gardens. We're going to treat this yellow patient for $14. So that's $34 total. And I'm tempted to spend as much of this on points as I possibly can because I have so much money left over from last round. I really didn't have to buy all that much. I mean, I spent $7. I presume that I got rid of the right amount of money. Yeah, Heggers, this is quite a complex game. I say quite a complex. There's a lot of moving parts to it. Of course, if anyone has any questions, please do ask them in chat. If there's something I've sort of forgotten to explain, but Hopefully it's relatively clear for those of you who've been watching from the start. Uh, you know, and I would point out that for the majority of these things, there aren't really any, like, for the placement of the tiles is probably the most confusing things, and for the majority of them, it's actually just easiest to remember that they don't have placement restrictions. Um, you know, it's just the treatment rooms really that have placement restrictions. They have to be next to both a cardiovascular, they have to be next to both a service hub and a supply room. But that's adjacent, orthogonally on the same board, or above or below. So this one has the supply room above it. And the other thing to remember is, you know, if you're on the top level, you have to have something on the bottom level below you. And yeah, and then that's pretty much it. Like, everything else can kind of go where you want, but its placement is still important because you're trying to create sort of efficiencies for time and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, the entranceways can only go in the specific printed entranceway places. Right. So I'm going to have to pay my overhead costs now. These patients are going back to their treatment areas. They're going out of the gate. They're done. So overhead costs, we've got 2 white doctors, a yellow doctor, so that's $4. We've got 2 nurses and an orderly, that's another $3. So that's $7 of staffing costs. We've also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chargeable tiles still, because we built another parking lot. We don't have to pay for those. So actually our costs have gone down because our doctors are a bit less skilled at the moment. So, because they're tired, obviously. That's how real life works. So, what did I say? 5, 6, 7? So $16 of overhead costs this round. So, I guess I'll have to give this up. And as change, I get math, 9. So I'll give up one of these and take 10. I think we should just spend all of this on points, folks. What have we got here? We've got 15, 18. That's just 6 points. I think we should just buy 6 points. Just convert it all into points. Dun, 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 dun. So that's 20 points. Whee! And we are done with business. Time for administration. Yes, who doesn't love a bit of admin? Good old bit of admin. So, yep, we're just moving. Boop. Round 5. Boop. Back to the start there. These 2 patients return to the bag. These ones all fall into place here. And we can't actually level up the doctors at the hospital because they're both at the university because they're both red. And we can't replace any of them. A nurse would leave, but I hired the nurse. And so now we're going to go over to my laboratory where I do have a doctor. So this doctor becomes orange. That's good. And we gain 1 more point, so we go up to 21. That's also good. Nice. And nobody dies, and all the rest of it's irrelevant. So we're back to the top of the round. Alright, do you know what? I feel like this round we should just get a bunch of... we should do a higher action, and then just get a bunch of patients. I can only treat a maximum of 4 patients, though. I need another treatment room. I can get another treatment room in cardiology, though. But then I need to do another build action. Alright, maybe we'll do a big round on the last round, treat a whole bunch of patients. So I guess we're going to have to start with another build action, then. It's going to take a bunch of time to move patients into that cardio room, though. That's okay, because they get us more money. It might be better to actually build the room for psychology now that I think about it. Yeah. What do we want from this, though? Oh, I didn't take away the cars for the patients. I cured 2 patients. The easiest way to do this is just go, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members of staff. I should have 6 cars for them. Okie dokie. Did I take the 3 off my overhead costs? For the orderly? I don't think I did, actually. I paid 16, right? Which is 9 for all of the tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members of staff. But we had one yellow one. So that's 7. So yeah, I should have actually had $3 more. I forgot to adjust for the orderly. So I'll just convert that into 1 more point because that's what I would have done. Okie dokie. Yeah, so I'm thinking build. I'm thinking build because I'd like another treatment room. And I think if I build it on the last round, and then on the last round we can just, I'm thinking build higher and then patience. And I think what we should build is actually just a treatment room in here. And we don't need to build a conveyor necessarily. We will have to buy the free supply room, though. I mean, we could put the treatment room in here, but then it's, of course, cardiology and not radiology. And the other thing is the only way to get there would be to get into this room, and then walk up to the supply room, and then over here to the treatment room. So you'd need 1, 2 movement. Here you'd only need 1 because it's next to the conveyor belt. Although I think it might be much over much, because I think extra points... Well, yeah, but moving everyone around, patients and doctors, I think we probably just stomach the cost of building the extras. Oh god, it needs to be next to this, though. Oh, actually, that's great, then. We can just put it up here. And we can put it here. Like that. So now it's adjacent to this. Because it's above it. And it's got a supply room adjacent to it. Yeah, that's fine then. So we can just move 1. Now then we have the same problem we had over here. So now the question is, do we buy... Then we have the same problem we had over there. Yeah, I don't think there's actually a really good way to do this. Unless... Oh, I forgot to flip... Forgot to flip the cardio tile face up. So used to not having to do it. I mean, our only other option really is to build a new building that's really, really tall and narrow. But we'd still need 2 build actions. That's the problem. What we're trying to do here is get this sorted with only 1 build action. So I think that's our best bet. And then what we do... oh, these have adjusted costs. Ooh, I think I underpaid for some of these rooms. 1, 2, 3, 4. I underpaid by $4. Heckin' outrage. Right, and then I think what we have to do is build a conveyor. I wanted another entrance so I could get more patience points, but I think we just do 2 patient actions instead next turn. So this conveyor is adjacent to that conveyor. So you can zoom up from here to the supply room, and then you have to walk. Like the conveyor lets you out in the supply room, and then you have to walk into the treatment room. But we can't build the conveyor at an angle because that's not how conveyors work, obviously. So that's the build action done anyway. And pop back over here and see what 2 new patients we have coming out. And these will be the only 2 we get until I take some in for treatment. So 1 there, and 1 there as well. Fine, no problem. Action number 2. I think it's going to have to be higher because I need that nurse. So $4 for the nurse and their car. Oh, their car problems. I did not think about that. Do I want a red doctor? Yeah, I probably do, actually. Am I going to have that red patient? Oh, yeah. So we'll take the red doctor as well. That's another car. And also, another $2. So $7 total. And now I'm running out of parking space again. Oh, God, my life. What is my life? So that's done. And now it's time for more patients, but we can't fit any on the board, so we're over here into let's rescue some patients. So I think we're just going to go 1, 2 and take these 2 into psychology. And then these drop down. We can't treat... Oh, we can treat 3 in psychology now, actually, because we have our second psychology treatment room up here. So let's do that, actually. Let's take it because this one's more valuable to treat. So we'll treat all of these patients with severe psychological issues in our special psychological issues department. I think I did not pay the right price for these buildings. Did I pay any price for these buildings? Or did I just make up the failings I had before? Wait a minute. I think I should have paid $8 for these buildings. I think I can't afford this conveyor. Sorry guys, I'm I'm trying to keep a good pace here with the playthrough, and instead I'm missing steps. Car parking simulator is correct, Heggers. Did I don't think I paid for these, did I? Because I think I had something like $18 at the beginning of this round. And I paid $6 for staff. And then I paid $4 that I made up, which would have left me with $8. Someone who can check the stream can probably wipe it out, but I'm just going to get rid of this $5. I should have paid $8. 6 for these 2 buildings plus 2 for the conveyor, which I don't think I paid. But I got distracted making up for my mistake forgetting to pay extra for the higher up buildings earlier. Oops. So, anyway, let's just wipe out my savings, and I'll just have to deal with the fact I have no money. But that's fine. So, we're going to get one more patient coming out to the top row here. Alright, we might need to not spend all our money on points this round as well. And now we're on to movement. So, we'll come back over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to need Yellow Doctor to Fum 1 up there. Red Doctor just 1 into here. I took 3 patients in, so I need 3 cars as well. Good lord. 1, 2, 3. Oh my god. I need to upgrade these parking lots. Okay. So 2 points of movement. We've got a yellow doctor there who needs to treat... A white doctor here who needs to treat a yellow cube. Well, actually what we can do is we can go... 1, move the nurse into there. I don't think it really matters too much because I got honestly more nurses than I need. But let's swap these 2 doctors around, which we can do for free because of the conveyor. And then we're going to have 3 patients appearing over here, and their movement into 2 of them move into this room. So that's 2 more points of movement, so 5. Then this one goes 6 into here, Foomph up there for free, 7 into here. We remove time by 3, so 4 time total. Means that I go up to, I'm on 9, so I go up to 13. Negative 4 points at the end of the game. Okie dokie. And then, and by the way, if you're ever wondering, like, can you build gardens on the upper level? The answer is yes, if you build them on top of gardens. So you can have gardens on the upper levels if you build them on top of gardens, because you're essentially just building planting really tall trees. I guess that's what's happening. There's also more of these treatment rooms. I just ran out of the stack. Okay. But now we're moving on to business stage again. Yeah, business stage. Business. So we're gonna treat some cubes. So we got this yellow cube is being treated for 12. Yes. And then this yellow cube is being treated for 14. And the orange doctor can treat this yellow cube because of the nurses. So, 14. And then this red cube is going to be treated for 34. Yes, bank. Okay, so we've fully treated our people, and they get in their cars and drive away. Get out, go away, cars. Okay, and these 3 can return to places of good health. Alright, so much money. Okay, now to calculate our overheads, which are going to be significant this round. I also need to keep some savings, because I seem to have exhausted all of my savings by accident. So, we have got red doctor, an orange doctor, a yellow doctor, and a white doctor, so 1 of each, which is $10. Got 3 nurses, that's $13. 1 orderly, that's $14. $14. We've also got 11 chargeable tiles, so that's $25. Bloody hell, there goes all my money. But we're removing $3, so $22 total payment. Ooh, it gives me a big sad. I want to keep my no, I'm gonna have to break the 25 in a minute anyway because I'm buying some points. Okay, so we're left with a grand total of 10, 20, 35, 38. The thing is, I should probably do some little calculation here about what I want to do with my life next turn, because I probably want to spend the final round not building a whole lot and just treating patients. I can treat most of the patients are current in cardiology, but I think psychology will fill back up again. But I'll probably I need to take a higher action to get my last nurse in, so I'll probably take a higher action, and then I can treat a maximum of 6 patients. So I'll probably take a higher action and 2 acquire patient actions next turn. So that means that realistically I'm buying a nurse and maybe a doctor. So, because I can't pay wages and things with my savings, anything I overcommit to my savings isn't worth it. So, isn't going to help me to prevent any shortfall. But because I'm committing to healing a lot of patients, I should have enough income. So I'm thinking, given I need $4 for the nurse, and 2 or $4. So realistically, $6 gets me some kind of doctor and a nurse. I don't think I even want the doctor. So let's have a look here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So we've got 10 points there, and $1 that has no meaning. Yeah, I think we should just go for the 10 points, honestly. And hopefully we won't run into any parking issues. Because I ain't doing any more build actions. But really, I just need that last nurse, and then I'm just treating people and moving them around. So, with that in mind, it's time for admin. So we're going into the final round. We're going to reset this to here. These 2 are going back into the bag. We're dropping all of these down here. And we're going to replace them all with more patients from the bag. I might have treated all the patients, actually. It doesn't feel like there's very many left in the bag. What happened to all the red patients? I feel like I haven't got many red patients. How many red patients are there in the solo game, actually? 1. There's 1 red patient in the solo game, so I treated the red patient. It occurs to me right now that if I actually invite the patients to my hospital, and then instead of curing them right away, I just let them sit around, they'll actually get worse, and then I can treat them for more money. So by bringing them in and treating them immediately, I'm actually maybe not maximizing my possible avenues for revenue here, because I've been looking at this step as a possible danger zone, but actually if they're going from white to yellow, yellow to orange, orange to red, so long as they're not ticking over from the red, I'm actually going to make more money provided I have the doctors. Oh god, Heggers, yeah. I'm going to talk about some of this kind of stuff later on. But obviously my second playthrough, I didn't crock that in my first playthrough either. It's my natural instinct is to just heal the patients right away. So in any case, I think it's too late for me to do much about that in this particular game. So have I finished the administration? I have not. So we need one more doctor at the hospital. No, at the hospital, one more doctor at the university. It's a white doctor, which is fine. There's no nurses to remove. This doctor is going to become an orange doctor and get me 1 point. So that's good. And then these doctors are all going to level down. So this yellow one's going to become a white doctor. This orange one will become a yellow one. And the red one will become an orange one. And there's definitely a better way to do that. But nobody judge me. Okay. And then the rest is not pertinent. So we're into the final round, and I've pretty much got a. I'm pretty confident about what I'm going to do here. I think in order to maximize my sort of opportunities for patients, I'll do the patients later. But also, I can only heal patients up to the maximum number of doctors I have. So I'm going to have 5 doctors in the final round. And the opportunity to get up to 6 patients, but I probably want to do some moving around. So I guess we'll start with the hire action. And we'll hire the white doctor and the blue nurse, because I can't afford the red doctor. So that's $2 and $4, $6. They're going to come and stand over here in their cars. Am I going to have enough space for the patients' cars as well? If I bring in 5 patients, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 parking spaces left. Holy cow. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it. I had no idea that was so tight. Good God. Okay, right, so we're going to have some more patients now. Let me just move this over a bit. So we're going to have, well actually we're just going to get them in the top row. That's the doctor bag. Oops. Is there, oh, there's only one more patient in the bag. Okay. Right, and there's only one more doctor as well. Huh. Okay, so then it's just recovering patients. So I'll flip this one over. I got 3 points of patient recovery here. They're all actually relatively low value patients at this stage. So what I need to do is just make sure I get the right... well, it doesn't even really matter which area... Well, actually, hang on. Do I have the right doctors? Because I'm going to have... If I have 5 patients, they're all going to be white and 1 yellow. Which means I have 3 doctors that can treat the right patients and 2 orange doctors that need to be adjusted by 2 nurses. Fortunately, I do 2 nurses each. Fortunately, I do have 4 nurses, so I can just about do this. I just need to make sure that I get these in the right positions, because we've got 1 white doctor here who I don't want to move. So I need at least 1 white psychology patient. We've got everybody else down here, which kind of doesn't matter. And this guy over here. Which again doesn't really matter. So if we have 5 patients, we're going to have 4 on the ground floor and 1 up here. So yeah, so we need all 3 white psychology patients. And then we need the other 2. Yeah, this is fine. This is absolutely fine. So what we'll do is we'll just we'll use our 3 points here to take these 3. Oh, not that one. and then we'll just pop them down in here. There's no more patients in the bag, so I can't fish any more out. So then we'll flip this over, and we'll go ahead and take these two here, pop them down here. So we've got 5 patients that have shown up in total, so I need to put out 5 cars. Oh god. All of the remaining car positions are now filled, and we'd have to start building parking lots if we wanted to continue to grow. But it's the end. So that's I have not been moving the cube, or not the cube, the action marker, but that's it. And now we're into movement. So what we need to do is get one patient to go 1 into here, shoot up there, and 1 over here. So we've got 1 patient in there. So that's 2 movements so far. Wait a minute. No, that was from the wrong area. It has to be from here. These 2 patients both go 1, 2 into here and shoot up there. So that's 4. But then this doctor moves 1 into here and goes in there. And this doctor can go over there for free. So that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5 total movement. And then this nurse, and you can have any number of nurses in an area, goes over there for free. This one comes in, that's 6 movement. This guy shoots over there for free, and these 2 come in here and move in there, 6, 7, 8. So then we remove 3, and all those nurses are helping those 2 orange doctors treat the white cubes. This is horribly inefficient, I realize now, because these doctors are going to get tired out. So I'm going to lose endgame scoring because they'll be yellow, and they're only treating white cubes. This is probably horrifying to people who know how to play Clinic. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just figuring it out now. This is a very cynical game, and I'm just not a cynical person, typically. So, 5 is what I said. So 5 time tracks, we're going to go up to 18. Oh god, if I had only got that down by 1, I would have 1 less negative point. That's fine. And now we're into business! Business. So, I mean, at least we have that guard in there so we can treat a bunch of patients and make some extra money that way. So, and it's nice, you know. So we're going to treat these 2 patients here, and they're worth 10 each because of the garden. So that's 20 in total for them. We're going to treat these 2, and they're worth 10 and 14 because of the garden, so 24 in total. I'm going to put out 25, but remind me to dog myself one in a minute. And then we're treating this guy for 8. So, there we go. Alright, there's our final count. We've actually treated almost every patient. There's only 2 patients left untreated. So maybe I should have taken the objective where I had to treat all the white cubes instead. Because I probably could have easily got to these 2 white cubes. Less effort than the nurses, I think. But now we have to pay our overhead costs. So we've got 2 white doctors, that's 2. 1 yellow, that's 4. 2 oranges, that's 10. We've got 5 members of staff, that's 15. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 chargeable tiles. So that's $26 minus 3 is $23 we have to spend in overhead charges. So here's our final income of the game. We got 25 there, 28 I think of money we can actually spend on points, because 28 is divided by 3 is math. Oh, this game is a brain melter. Hang on. 31, 24, 27. 27 is divisible by 3, not 28. So that's 9 points, obviously. And 2 leftover dollars. So there you go. I managed to calculate that fairly well, I think, because I've only got $4 left over of unspendable money. So the 9 points are going to put us up to 40 here. Whee! Then we have to go through our administration for the final round as well. So we can... That's done. This doesn't matter. Actually, the only thing really that matters is the laboratory, which doesn't trigger, and the tiredness of the doctors, because that's going to affect our in-game score. So this white doctor is fine. This yellow doctor becomes a white doctor. White doctors can't become tired because they are already operating at minimal capacity. And these two orange doctors become two yellow doctors, which I think is the difference between... it's just 2 points, but I'm sure there's sort of clever ways to let this sort of thing escalate. And that's it. There's no patients or anything to take care of. Nothing else. So we can go and actually do our final scoring as well, which we can see over here at the bottom of the main game board. And what we're going to do is we're going to get some points for our doctors and our buildings and things as well. So just double check the end of the the rule book as well to make sure I get all of these right. But the top row is obviously for doctors and nurses. There's points there. And then the next one's for buildings. Again, and then, yeah, as I said at the top of the game, fully functional treatment rooms. And there is no points for the treatment rooms on the first floor, on the ground floor, but you get points for building them on the upper floors, which I had no idea. But if you have a look here, this indicates here that we get 2 points for each fully functional treatment room on the upper floor, but there doesn't seem to be an equivalent down here on the ground floor, so I guess these 2 treatment rooms are worth nothing. So, with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and take 6 points for our 3 white doctors and 6 points for our 2 yellow doctors. So that's 12. We also have 4 nurses, which puts us up on 16 points for doctors and nurses. So we're going to go and jump up to 56, which is nice. So we can go and put this here. 56. And then we've got 2 buildings, which is another 8 points. So that takes us up to 14. And then we've got 2 points for this treatment room here. So that's 2 more points, up to 16. And now we're going to lose some points. So we lose points for treat patients that are untreated in the hospital, because I guess I made a decision to not actually utilize that mechanism, because I thought it was only bad and couldn't be cynically manipulated to make more money. I didn't do that. So I've actually got none of those, but I do have negative 6 points for using time up. So we go down from 16 to 10, giving us a total score of 60 points in the end game. And of course we have the 4 nurses, so we have completed our end game objective, which means that we get to check our score at the end of the book. That's fun. Fun, fun, fun. Fellow. We made it down to here. That's pretty good, I think, for a second play. I wonder if I've stumbled upon a sort of accidental, like, advanced strategy where you don't let people get more sick. So, and that's something I wanted to talk about. So, you know, when I first started learning this game, I thought this seems needlessly complex and over-convoluted with too many exceptions. But I actually think it's alright. I found I like the... It's kind of got that escape plan feel, you know? In that it feels... It's very fast, but it's quite complex for something that's so fast. And sometimes that's actually really nice, to be able to play something that's both very sort of like demanding, Euro-y, complex mechanisms, but that doesn't actually take very long to play. There's not a lot of games that walk that line well, and I think Escape Plan and Clinic both walk that line quite well, actually. And the solo game has been quite appealing. I think it would play better multiplayer. I think that you're missing out on a lot with the sort of the actions and trying to sort of get the stuff you want and having this conundrum of what to prioritize and things like that. You know, so I really like this idea of everyone simultaneously sort of like, you know, you keep these face down and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put this one out, and you know, then it's like, oh, I'm doing that, and the turn order being a thing. You know, I like that. I like that the turn order is a catch-up mechanism. It's important to me that this game is satirical. That's the thing. Like, the theme is fine. I don't mind the theme of building a hospital. I don't mind the theme of, you know, curing patients and all that kind of stuff. That's all fine. There's some dialogue in the rulebook I find either amusing if it's a satire and troubling if it's not. So I'm just hoping it's satirical. And this idea that actually, that which I stumbled upon at the end there, where you could actually bring patients into here and here, and then you can, if you have extra movement points or something, you could put them out here and here, or just leave them to, so you can leave them in your service hubs there. These can hold any number of people. Or you can just leave them out here and here to essentially become sicker, so that you can better and more efficiently utilize your doctors when they match up. And then you can move them into the hospital. And so, because I was thinking, like, it seemed a bit odd that there was this sort of mechanism for bringing people into the hospital. Or rather, it felt a bit weird that there was this mechanism where the patients would get sicker if you left them lying around. Because I was like, well, just don't do that. You know, this is actually very easy to avoid. But the thing is, you don't want to avoid it, typically. You want to utilize it to maximize your income and just not let this part happen, right? And that's deeply cynical. And if that's intended to be humorous, or, you know, satire, basically, you know, then that's fine. I actually don't have a problem with that. You know, that's, I mean, I think that this is the American healthcare system should be satirized more, because it's awful. It's, you know, I'm a big believer. I don't like to get political, but I think this is an important political issue, and I think healthcare is very, very important, and free healthcare, I think, is extremely important. And I don't like what's happening in my country with healthcare right now, which is the UK. And I think that the fact that, like, you know, you have stories of type 1 diabetics in the US dying because they can't afford insulin and things like that, it's just very upsetting. You know, people who don't want to get into ambulances because it's too expensive, you know, so they can Uber to the hospital. That's crazy. You know, and then they might not get, the Uber driver might take them to the wrong hospital where their insurance isn't covered, and then they can't get treated there. They have to go to another hospital. Like, it's just not, it's not okay. So a lot of that is reflected in this game, and you are the bad guy. And I hope that it's meant tongue-in-cheek. You know, there is a couple of lines here in the rulebook. One says, yeah, one says you're trying to build... It's about building the hospital. Where is it? There's two. One is, yeah, building your clinic to treat more and more patients not only helps the public, but it is also a monument to yourself. I mean, yeah, I suppose. That's a little... No, that's not quite satirical enough for me. I understand that a lot of entrepreneurs engage in philanthropic activities, and it's not necessarily an issue if they're only doing it for their own ego or glorification if they are helping people, you know, but also there's no need for that line here, you know, unless we're trying to characterize the people we're playing as these sort of capitalist egomaniacs, you know, and because it's satire. And then there's another line here that says, admitting patients to your clinic may be the start of a logistical nightmare, but the patients have a bad case of full wallet syndrome, and they really need you to cure them. which is what makes me think it's satirical, because that's an awful thing to write if it's not satire. So, setting that aside, like, I like satire. I have no problem with dark humor. So if that's the case here, fine. And if it's not, it's just evidence of just a complete lack of self-awareness, or a lack of social awareness, which is awful. But setting that aside, because I don't have an answer for that, and I think, even if I hope it's intended as satire, even if it's not, it's borderline satire. Like, it has to be, because it's such a joke. But the game itself is, I think I'd definitely be interested in playing it again. The box comes with a bunch of little mini expansions in it, which are nice. You've got these purple doctors called Workaholic Doctors. I don't know how any of these play. I haven't looked at them yet. You've got fire extinguishers, which you have to put out, I guess, in case of fires. You've got some green cubes in here, which you guys can't see at all because of the green screen. But they're zombie patients, so they might come in and be zombies. And then there's also these blood drops, which is something to do with, I don't know, cardiovascular expansion. Blood transfusion expansions. So these are all things that you can do, or you'd have to do extra things to deal with, I think. It feels really tight. Like, the game already feels very tight, so I don't know how they would integrate these expansions without making it almost feel like overwhelming. Or feel almost impossible to do everything. But, I don't know, maybe if you're not concerned with getting patients in and turning them around in one turn and getting them out again, like, you can sort of... Maybe I should have built more entrances, I could take in more patients at a time, and maybe if you're just waiting for them to get, because, I mean, one red patient is $32, which is 4 times as much as a white patient, so I might have been better off just letting that tick up, and not worrying about having capacity for more patients, but just having fewer high... I suppose that's kind of the thing. Either you sort of go the way I did and try to get capacity for a lot of patients, or you maybe just have like 1 or 2 treatment rooms and just focus on a couple of really high severity patients. But I suppose to a degree these special tiles are going to manipulate how the game plays as well. And I have a couple of expansion boxes that come with a ton more stuff that I haven't even opened yet. So there's a ton of extra bits. I mean, I really don't know how much extra stuff you'd need, but, I found the game quite interesting. I think I have the same concern with it that I had with Escape Plan, which is that you'd have to, I think, either play this solo or play it with people who are committed to playing more than once. Because given the pace of the game and how few intermediate sort of heuristics there are, like how it's taken me this long to just figure out the patient thing, which might be apparent to some people up front, but I think there's enough here, enough complexity here where, and again, like that thing I realized wasn't necessarily an end-all be-all. I think this strategy worked out okay. Like, I managed to get into the sort of the top 50 score realm. It's 50% of the score track, so a rating for solo mode. But I think that, I think the game probably plays... It says it's 2 hours with multiple players. It's not 2 hours solo, so maybe my reaction is just due to the solo part, but I would hope it's not 2 hours with 3 players. I don't actually know how many it goes up to. I think it goes up to 4 or... Yeah, 4. Everything on the board is marked for 4. So, I hope with 4 players it's not 2 hours. When the players are familiar with the game, you can do this phase and this phase simultaneously, so that's going to speed things up a lot, which is good. So I do think 2 hours might actually be, in an uncommon board game trope, actually a highball estimate. But again, like I said, I think that the overhead teach is quite long, so you probably want to get multiple games out of it if you are going to go through the rigmarole of learning it. But it's definitely got that sort of Vital Lacerda-esque, like, there are obstacles, there's a lot of obstacles, and I can't do everything I want to, and everything's very, very restricted, and if I'm going to do that, I'm going to need to do this, and this first, and then this first, so I need to start over here and do this. Oh no, but I didn't plan for that, now I can't afford this, you know. It's all very sort of like, there's not an, I mean, there's only like one resource, you know. There's also time, but time is something you're, you know, trying not to spend, and that's all in the design element here, so really it comes back to money, because efficiencies on this board come from money. Spending money to get the efficiencies. So, yeah, I think, you know, if you're into the Vitalis sort of type stuff, I think this is probably something you'd enjoy. But yeah, it's a big learning curve, so I do think you'd have to watch something like this and decide that this is something that you liked before investing. That would be my recommendation. Sean, yeah, I have enjoyed this solo. I actually really enjoyed this solo. I was surprised. I'd be keen to try it again. I think now, the thing about the solo mode is all that's really gonna change is the order these come out, which I don't think is actually massively significant, and the special modules. Now, there are a bunch of special modules. There's 4 categories. I think that each one in each category is the same, though. Yeah, so there's 4 different special modules, and you use 2 of them. So you're not going to get a massive amount of replayability out of the special modules. But there's some there. But I think that's the only thing that really significantly changes game to game in the solo mode. So, I mean, obviously you can try to build a different hospital every time, and that's going to be appealing. And trying to go for like a helicopter pad, or you know, more parking lots and stuff, I don't know, or 1 building, 2 buildings, you know, trying out all these different options, that's going to have some appeal for a certain amount of time. But then you've got the 4 expansions that come in the deluxe set. I don't know how many of these are compatible with solo. I assume they all are, because the solo mode of this seems very integrated. But there's also, like, I think 4 big box expansion boxes out there with more stuff. They add in things like, you know, like patients who smoke, and fire trucks, and all kinds of random stuff. So, you know, if you were interested in playing this a lot more, there's like, or if you played it like 4 or 5 or 6 times, and you're thinking, I wish this had more replayability, then maybe that is something you want to look at. But, you know, I think there is enough to get into here, and I reckon, yeah, if you played it solo a bunch of times, then you could probably get it to the table with some other players relatively easily as well, because you would have really internalized all those rules, and you could explain do the teach maybe a bit quicker than you might otherwise. But I think that's it from me. That's my final thoughts, my initial thoughts after 2 plays on the solo mode. I'd really like to try it multiplayer, but you know, sort of as a, I don't know, yeah, I am interested in it multiplayer. I want to see how big an impact the actions and the action planning has. I think that'd be really fun. I definitely think that'd be really fun. I think it'd be nerve-wracking. Like, I need these things, I need these pieces, oh no, that piece is gone. I think the scores would be a lot lower with multiple players. Probably find yourself running out of money a lot quicker. But yeah, I do wonder about the 6 rounds thing as well, because I was nowhere near getting up to like floor 2 and 3. These are the you can't see crap on that. This is the next floor up, right? Well, this is floor 3, but you can get 2 more floors, of course, which would, I think, actually come into play more often. And everything gets more expensive as you build up as well. But you can also play on the 3 mode here, which is the expert mode, where you have less space to build in. So I guess if you want to build 3 buildings on this board, you're going to have like 2 buildings that are just 1 space each and just build up. And then like 1 that's, I don't know. Yeah, there's a compelling number of options here that I'm interested in looking at. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up here, guys, and get out of here. But thanks thanks so much everybody for watching. I hope this has given you some insight into Clinic and what it's all about. I know that they had if you're in the UK, I know they were selling this deluxe set that I've been playing here for like 30 quid at Zatu. So that's a pretty good deal if you're interested right now. I think 30 quid. I think this is supposed to retail for like 60. So I think 30 quid is a very reasonable price for this. But I hope I'll catch you all again soon for another stream. I'll be back on Wednesday with Chris. We're going to be doing Bloodborne Hunter's Dream, so that'll be fun. So I don't know exactly when we'll start, so make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. You come and join us for that. And lots more exciting stuff coming to the channel this month, I think. Fingers crossed everything works out, and we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, thanks so much to all the wonderful patrons who support the channel and help keep all of this content coming to you for free and unimpacted by any concerns of where the support comes from. So, thanks so much to all those wonderful patrons, and to everyone in chat. And Mike, thanks for the comment on the camera work there. I do my best. Have a wonderful Saturday evening, everyone, and a wonderful Sunday as well. I'll see you all very soon for the next stream, and bye bye for now. And credit.